girls. Welcome to another creepy, terrifying art show with the Art Sherpa. And today we are going to honor the queen of camp, the mistress of the dark, the most bodacious beauty that ever graced the B-horror screen, Miss Cassandra Peterson, otherwise known as Elvira. Are you guys excited? Because I'm kind of excited.
Oh yeah, this is everybody has been waiting for this. Hi guys, how you doing today? It's so good to see you guys. This has been a really exciting one for us today. We've been excited to do this. There's a lot of people here waiting for this too.
Man, it's hard to birth a pair like we did on this one. She definitely she just took a lot of paint.
Yes.
All right, so today I'm super excited. We're going to talk a lot about some interesting things. I'm going to give you some good tips and strategies on how to handle all these curves, how to get really great shading, because you can't do Elvira without, shading. And we tipped another hat to a very famous icon during the same period, an artist named Nagal. So if you guys catch that, you might be like, that reminds me of something. Yep, we make all the curves. Okay, so I was asked, how difficult is this painting? And I would like to tell you in all seriousness, it's a two-hooter painting. Definitely two hoots.
Yeah, definitely.
Not
on a scale
a hoot.
of 1 to 3, it's a 2.
Right. 3 hoots, we got to go into Star Trek and that green lady, and it's a whole other complicated series of events.
Yeah.
But for this, it's just 2 hoots, and I'm going to show you how. Let's talk about our materials.
What you got over there?
Well, I have a 9x12 canvas board, and over here I'm going to use a very teeny tiny amount of CAD red medium. You could just use any red you have, some titanium white paint, a little phthalo blue, and for black, I'm probably going to use my black gesso, and I'm also going to be using some fluid white paint, right? And I've got some backup fluid black and some of this, but I don't want the 2 tones between these, and this is even more matte, and I want to go the full matte.
The full mat.
I'm going to take it to the mat.
Take it to the mat.
Take it to the mat, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Listen, yes, Elvira is a very complex drawing, and so if drawing is not your primary skill, if you check the description below, besides the link of materials that we're using, the brushes and all that information, there'll be a link to our website where a downloadable traceable is available for you. And I'm going to show you right now
how to trace it on.
How to trace it on, but only after we put our wishes into the universe. All right, so our own Cindy is asking for strength, to feel strong with her struggles at work and health and love. Cassie also, strength and support, work, health, and love. And we have healing for Felicity, and a really big one. I saw this come through the Facebook feed, and if you saw this whole post, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, Jesse's little brush. So I read this post, and I was like, what's the heart of my wish for Jesse's little brush? And the heart of my wish is that the people that surround Jessie and her daughter are compassionate, understanding, helpful, and healing. This is my wish, because I feel like this is what this family needs the most right now. And I'm sure, other moms in the group totally get what I'm saying here. So that was my wishing right there. And the question of the day that you can leave in the comments below after the show. What's your favorite B horror movie?
Oh, yes. We had, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. There's so many good ones too to talk about.
There really are.
There are a lot of good B horror. I was a huge B horror fan when I was a kid. Sim and I were talking about that earlier today.
Yep, it's a thing, so discuss.
Yeah.
Discuss.
I'm interested to see. You know what? We have a lot of little brushes who are hanging out with us today.
Do we?
Lillian was a little brush who I saw here with us. And let's see, there was Kathy and Cindy. Oh, and I saw little brush Ian, who's not so little.
Little brush Ian is not little?
He's
young at heart?
He's young at heart.
What am I doing?
I don't know.
I need another color. Don't use white transfer paper.
No, that would not work.
Let's see if I can see the yellow. I think I'd like a darker color than this, though.
Yeah.
Over there, I have some blue.
Okay, I'll get you blue.
So I'll talk about this real quick. So what I have here is Serral transfer paper. This is for detailed transfers. Jonathan. Okay. You can see my. So this is for detailed transfers. I have a link in the description below. Yes, you can rub on the drawing table. Yes, you can rub graphite on the back of your drawing. That'll show. I want something that shows for you guys too. Yes, transfer white paper onto white canvas, not as helpful. Now on this one, when I initially painted it, I can just paint right. I could just go solid black.
Yeah.
Right, and then paint over it. But I know not all of you guys are painting golden paint. Some of you guys are painting craft paints and student paints, and so they might not have the deep coverage that my paint has. And so because of that, I'm going to do this so that everybody has a highly successful painting, because I want everybody to win. Super serious, I do. I do. So first, I'm lining this up, and I'm going to tape this down so she doesn't move on me a whole bunch. Because that's the number one thing that will mess up your transfer, is her moving.
Little Brush Charlie said, want to make sure I said hello for.
Hi, Charlie.
So, just big fan. I wanted to make sure. And I always like to try to get the little brushes out there.
Hi, Charlie.
Hi.
I hope everyone's really enjoying our Halloween
everybody's
fun.
having a blast out here.
So I'm going to go over this. I give you guys some extra room in all these little traceables so that, no matter where your hand is at, you're going to get a pretty decent result.
Now you're just tracing over that.
Yeah, I use this little pink Prismacolor pencil. I guess this is actually made. This one might actually be acrylic. And I just trace over the lines that I drew here. And to make sure that I go. She has kind of a more pointed nose, and so that's important that I get that. And then this particular picture that I referenced, it was nice because she was like really sort of just there. Because I thought, we're going to do the big face, but then I really liked it. I don't know. It just spoke to me. It just spoke to me. It was like the mistress is arresting. This is her neck shadow. So it's interesting to do pieces in the style of Nagal because he was such a graphic artist in the 80s and 90s. And he did these really gorgeous pieces. You can Google him. I really liked him as an artist. And he definitely influenced me when I was growing up. Now, my particular piece of transfer paper is not as big as my canvas. So, I will have to finish some of this out by hand. But I do not mind. And some of it's not that important. Like the black hair here, I've really got to put in after anyways. I love this beehive. It really works for me.
Yeah, I dig it.
Really, really works for me. So once I have this all in, I'm going to make sure that I talk about this reflection that I have on the beehive. This was such a classic look. The costuming on this. And Cassandra Peterson is a comedian, in my opinion, was just so ahead of her time. Like, now you can imagine seeing Mistress of the Dark as a YouTube show, I imagine. That wouldn't be that inconceivable. But you think when she was on TV, it was pretty amazing.
What I find in chat, the most interesting thing that's happening right now is the...
Oh, look, I used the right side of the paper today.
Oh, yay!
Yay!
The most interesting thing I find going on in chat right now is the controversy on what constitutes a B film versus not a B film. And there's some feels out there, like some people feel Rocky Horror Picture Show is not a B film. Some people feel it is.
Wow, I didn't know I was pulling a lid on that.
Well, I don't know. And
I thought as long as we stay out of politics, we all good. I didn't know I was cracking a lid on B films.
Well, and then there's the question of where does Alfred Hitchcock fit in that? Is he a B or an A?
He's an artist.
Well, I know, but his films weren't full budget. They were a B film budget. They were
he's
successful.
like indie. That's all.
Well,
he was
so right.
weird and quirky and indie, and his wife did a lot of the work. I mean, let's just own all that, right? Okay, see, now you cracked my Hitchcock issues.
But what we're saying before
you
we
didn't
go to,
know you had started it with me.
But it is interesting that there's a line on
I'm gonna put out a little white paint.
Army of Darkness. Is this an A film because
B.
it got a full budget and a full budget push run.
Anytime you have Ash in a movie, it's B.
But
Look, it's
and
B.
I would totally agree with.
Okay, speaking of great B films. The Toxic Avenger.
Oh well, see you fall very much in B there.
Yeah. I think everybody thought Star Wars was going to be B.
Oh, Kim Sim said new little brush Gabriel, who's just born, is even watching.
Hi, Gabriel.
So we have a lot of little brushes too.
So I'm going to grab a number 10 bright here. And one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm also going to pull out a cat's tongue because I have to keep track of something very lightly, which is the outer shape of her beehive. I'm having you guys do your white over the white canvas because otherwise you will end up just seeing the black. It'll be all splotching you and I'll be getting letters.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to know where my beehive is. So I'm going to load up my number 4 cat's tongue. You could use a round, a bright, just whatever brush you feel comfortable with. And just a smidge of white. Because even as I'm painting all this in black, I don't want to lose these outer kind of lines.
Yeah.
So this is what I was like, how am I going to do this? And I'm like, oh, well, we'll just make sure that we don't lose. And we'll come back and make these cooler later. We just need to know that when we've got the black on, right, that we have a memory.
You're going to be, this is the part where you like to dance around the canvas on me.
Dance around the canvas. I wonder if somewhere, if Elvira is watching.
That would be the coolest
thing ever.
Yeah. That's just, we all take a pause of moment going, wow.
Wow, we did, didn't we? We're like, that would be...
there's given YouTube and the way of YouTubery, there is the remote possibility that
could
could
happen.
happen. So, well, if you're watching, awesome high fives. Art
Thank
high fives
you
for
for
everything.
all the joy. Now I'm taking a little black, and where I have this detail work, I'm just using this smaller brush, right? And I'm going to paint out everything but through here, which is going to be a bright white. Right? Going to do that. There's an interesting thing where we're going to bring these curves through our black, but we'll go ahead and put it in now. We want to... So, just got to get it in, sort of. Don't worry about it too much. This is an interesting, different way of laying something in. We're going to almost have a screen print effect here, so that's going to be really nice. And this is definitely pop art. And you guys every once in a while like ask me to get much deeper into the pop art world. Just try to keep some of this slight value, right? Just a little bit there so you don't lose the shape. Because it could be hard to keep that shape in. And when I'm coming around here, I'll go ahead and talk about this reflection. Even though I'm going to come back with white, right? You can go ahead and say, oh, she's got some reflection. And I like to take it all the way up around the crown, the shape of the crown. The real crown she wore was the highlight on her beehive.
Oh wow! I was posted up a whole really interesting little block of information on what constitutes a bee film versus not a bee film.
Oh, what is it? Let's talk about that.
Oh my! So I took a pause here just to even take in what that was. So a bee movie or a bee film is a low-budget commercial movie, but one that is not an art house film. In an original usage during the golden age of Hollywood, the term was more precisely identified films intended for distribution with a less publicized bottom half or double feature, akin to the B-side of a record in music. So this was sort of a way that you could get a double feature. You'd get that. This was the B film that got paired with your lead film. So, if they came out with a major budget film, you'd get the second film at the same price. So you're double your after.
Oh my gosh, that's actually super interesting.
So, and that's kind of where all of that double feature kind of comes from, and all of that era of horror genre. So that's really just sort of interesting, isn't it?
I think so. So I'm just leaving a little bit here to remember that I've got a reflection I'm putting in. Doesn't have to be that perfect. We just know we'll be coming back, right?
Yeah.
With some white paint later to really, really define this. but here we go. We've got that right there. So that's real helpful. And that's already kind of saying, hey, chick's got some highlights.
Yes.
And they're mostly from her hair being shiny. So I'm just going around my lines.
There are a few people who are not native Texans, and I'm not saying whether she is or not. But there are very few people who can rock a beehive. Mm-hmm. Native Texans and Elvira.
Yep.
And
it's true. It's true. Texas girls can rock a beehive.
But she really, but mostly they're blonde. She does the jet black beehive like nobody else.
So you can see that by putting this in, you've left yourself some space to know where her beehive is, so you won't be lost when it's all black later.
Yeah.
These are like art breadcrumbs. Sometimes when I'm teaching, because we're teaching remotely, I'm not in the studio with you, I design pieces with the idea that they're art breadcrumbs. The two reasons why we're painting it this way is to make adjustments for variety of materials that people might be using, right? Like they may or may not have pro paint. And so coverage, they may not be able to just paint over black paint. That can be real challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Or, right, like not even just paint it white first and then another coat. Like sometimes it's just super, super challenging. And also to show you how to leave, like if you're doing stuff like this, how could you leave signs of what you intended to do later? Don't worry about the bust line too much. We've got a lot of work to do there. We really do.
You would approach this one a little differently here.
Mm-hmm. You mean like what I just said?
Yep. That's interesting.
Yes, very much. Very, very much approaching this one differently.
Yeah.
So there's not a right or wrong way to paint something in, but for the people coming later, why didn't you paint it all black first? That would be why.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I want you guys to have these faint lines to go, okay, so when we come to these light, all-important highlights on her beehive.
And they all just disappear.
Yeah. You're going to be like, oh, thank goodness I have that there. Otherwise, you get this crazy shaped head that's going to make you like go, oh, I loved her until I got to the hair.
So you can really see there
Yeah, and a lot of times I'm thinking about your experience being in your homes. I'm using my number 10 Bright Goldilocks.
Oh, down there. Doo, 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 doo.
And I'm going to want to get this as solidly painted with my black as I can. Can you use just black paint? John, I'm going to flip here.
Okay.
You can use just black paint. That is just fine. Nothing wrong with it. Won't ruin your painting. This painting is basically red, white, and black with a little bit of blue for some highlights. I'm going to flip her this way. I'm doing this so I'm not working to get to the edge of my canvas. I'm really loving this painting. I have to say painting Elvira was hardest of all the characters I've done so far and also the most enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect that to be true even though I'm a huge, massive fan. I found myself just sort of enjoying that, and once I got into it, just like giggling and really having a pretty good time. So I think her energy just permeates everything, because I feel like I could hear her in my head just like camping it up, getting me to not take it too seriously, and not worry too much. And that was sort of nice to sort of feel that spiritual energy.
This is you guys give us such a wonderful opportunity to come out here and play with you guys and be able to produce this artwork for you. It's a blessing, and thank you guys every day.
To be like just the fun of being campy at the beginning, that was super fun for us.
You can't imagine how much fun it was for us just to be here before the show going, oh, we can do this and this and this and this, and then just, the dry runs and the practice of it all, and this is just so much fun for us. So thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Sorry, I'm at that stage of the cold, guys.
Today was the first day you woke up and were like, I'm alive.
Yeah.
You've been,
despite the universe trying to take me out from every angle.
You're feeling. You woke up on this one okay. You need a cough moment. There you go. You go ahead and cough for a second.
I can't tell when it's coming.
Okay.
It's not one of those coughs that's polite and warns me.
Oh yeah.
So what'll be critical about this stage is just making sure you have a nice, solid coat of paint that's flat.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to want. You're going to want it to be flat. You're not going to want little pops of the canvas. Sometimes on these canvases, they have a texture on them, and when you're painting over it, it creates like a sealed film, and then it dries and that bubble pops, and then you end up with all these little white dots.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Economy canvas. I'm sorry. I'm just keeping enough of the line. I don't need that much. You keep what you need. Right? I'm just trying to make sure that Mistress of the Dark is in fact in the dark.
Right.
As she should be.
And it'll be much easier to keep her skin tone
white. Yeah.
And that's
what this is about. That's why we did it this way. Because when I painted her, I painted over her a solid black. And as I was doing that, I realized I'm painting golden titanium white, which is the most powerful of the whites. And it was a bit of a struggle to get it to cover. And I thought, if it's a struggle for me to get it to cover, if you're painting a craft paint or maybe basics, you would be really having a hard time. It would be like 6 coats.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to put anybody through that.
Now, you could do that if you want to.
Yeah.
But
totally.
I have to say is that I've watched Cinnamon paint a bunch of paintings, and I would do it this way. Because,
yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So I'm going to put in all the easy parts.
Yep.
So first is to get her shadows in, because her shadows are going to hold the space of her form. In this type of pop art, that's really important. So I'm going to mix a soft gray here, which is just my black and white paint.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to come under her chin. And you know what? I'm going to use these because my eyes are so tired today, and I got some new ones.
You got a nice little thing there, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I think I had mentioned that my glasses were not pretty, and I don't know what generous person sent them to us because there wasn't a note.
There wasn't a note. There wasn't anything. These just came in a box from our community.
That's okay by me right there.
I think that's pretty awesome.
I feel, and I can see Elvira, so this is good for everybody.
So thank you to our community for sending the wonderful glasses. We think that's pretty awesome.
I'm pretty into it. Because I was like, okay, I got to wear glasses. I accept that, sort of, but I just can't accept the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so depressing. All right, now we're going to come down this outer line of her neck. I'll tell you what, I'm not reconceiving the graphic, though.
Right.
It's too much.
I like the graphic.
You can even come along the side of her face a bit with the gray, and then we come back with the black when we need to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to come under her nose just a little bit.
It's all those layers that you got to get in there.
Yeah. This is one layer of shadow that you might have. And that's pretty good. Now, the tatas. You know, and it has been brought up to my attention that this is a really great subject for October because this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So while we're painting Elvira, I am sure that Cassandra Peterson would want me to say to you, this is a good time to remember to take care of yourself and schedule that mammogram.
Yep.
All right. I mean, what are you going to think about?
Take care.
So when we're painting the tatas, the hooters, the two hooters, what I'm going to say is that make sure you have a brush that can handle curves. And here's my little tip and trick. I'm going to pull my stroke long and continue it.
Now, why do you continue the stroke?
So it's smooth, so it's fluid.
Oh, and you'll just go back and repaint it black.
Yeah, I'll just go back and repaint it black.
Gotcha.
And that way I have the beginnings, because this is what's going to be hard, is getting that fluid stroke right there. So once you have the good basis of the curves, I'm going to wipe off my brush, but not rinse it.
Which brush are you using there?
I am using the number 4 cat's tongue.
Okay.
You could use a braid or round, anything you really want. Just something that will curve and bank for you well. Now see how I'm blending into it?
Yeah.
It's still wet here, so I'm using the wet into wet blending method, which means my paint is still wet, And that's why I can blend into it. And I keep loading white onto my paint and then just blending into the wet paint in front of it. And it's giving me a nice soft gradation.
Yeah.
If I have too much pigment on my brush, I can always wipe off. See?
Yeah.
And that's how I get a nice curve on the bust line. That's how we do that.
Yes.
That's how we do.
How you do.
Oh, see, I got too much. Wipe off. Wipe off.
How do you fix that?
Wipe off. Just take it down.
Blend, blend,
What
blend,
this was
blend,
is right
blend,
here
blend, blend.
was still wet.
Oh, there's black down there that's still wet.
Yeah, black down there is still wet. So I'm just going to come back through
Look at that.
and just blend. Keep wiping. This is the trick, is I'm wiping off on my towel, and then I can still get there.
Oh, yeah.
You can still get there. It's just going to be about the gradation and how challenging that is for what you're painting.
Now, you say that the key to this is getting at least 3 grades of this color, right?
Yeah, it's three values from dark to light. At least 3.
And if you can get at least 3, then
you're going to have nice hooters.
You'll fool our 8-bit brains into thinking it's gradated.
I've rinsed my brush out quite a lot. I may actually take her to the side here so I'm not having to struggle. I'm going to come very carefully between, and I'm going to make a deep shadow right here. She made sure, she was really kind of on point about her lighting.
Well, yeah. I mean, what I will say is that there was some real artistry to these films. And when you start working in black and white, you really care a lot more about texture and subject matter, because you can't rely on prints. You can't rely on the surface material.
I am rinsing out and loading up just white. And I'm going to come here and underneath here, I'm going to take this just white. All right. And I just got to be careful of not damaging my round curves.
Gotcha.
Right? So that's where I can damage my work, and if I do, I just come back and make sure that that's smooth and elegant, because this should be smooth and elegant.
Gotcha.
Smooth criminal. And I'm going to go ahead and paint all the rest of this white now. And you're like, but it's white. Yeah, I'm still going to paint it.
Well, it gives it a different look with the brush strokes. And
my titanium white is whiter than the canvas.
Yeah, it's true.
So graphically, it's a stronger process. And this is a very graphic piece.
It's true.
But still, by today's standards, family friendly.
Well, she was on several late night television shows.
Mm-hmm.
So
I watched. Did you guys watch?
Oh yeah,
I watched.
Yeah, there's a lot. I would say there's a lot of Elvira fans here.
Yeah, she's amazing. And if you know her, oh my God, please tell her that we all love her. I'm sure she hears that a billion times a day.
Yeah, art high fives.
Art high fives to Elvira. It is our great honor to paint her. All right, so now we have the white skin that this girl seriously worked hard to get. And this is before there were makeup tutorials on YouTube, so she had to work this out herself.
Yes.
Okay? There wasn't like some cute, sweet, adorable girl going, and now I'm going to do this in my corner of my eye. No. She was on her makeup mirror and all those supplies on her own going, I got to make this work.
Mm-hmm. And she did.
And she did. Let's paint her face.
All right.
Let's paint her face. I'm going to rinse this out. And I'm going to get a smaller brush.
Are you?
I am. I'm going to get a number 1. And number 1. And number 1. Number 1 round. And the reason is I want control. I'm going to get it wet to wash out the sizing. And I'm going to load up the tip. Just the tip.
Where are you going there? Okay.
And I'm going to come to the nose. And I'm going to do the very anxious work around the nose. This is probably the most challenging part of the whole painting because it's small spaces and because tiny changes in the nose and I mean it's me, it's you, it's everybody, are very challenging. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Come over and just drag down a reflection, and come over and just drag down a reflection, and I might even take this down a little bit at the tip, saying that the shadow pulls down. It's just hard.
Yeah.
Guys, there's just no way around it. And I wish I could spare you that, but I can't. You cannot be spared. I'm going to come around the eyes and make sure I outline these. First, oh my gosh, these glasses are making this so nice and so easy.
Yeah.
Okay. I still feel like bling could be glued to these things.
You
I may not be done.
Add some rhinestones.
I may need to in my glasses. I may go down. I may even age. I may someday. Actually, if I could be like Susie Kurtzman and be like advanced style and do things like color walks, I would be so excited. Be like, what are they going to do? Stop me?
It's true. What are they going to do?
I cannot be stopped.
Stop
I'm going
us.
to curve this line a little bit here at the corner because it would be. And then I'm going to very carefully shade the lid out. I'm giving myself just some small guidance here at the beginning. It's easy to extend the black. It's hard to reduce it. So that is why I'm being kind of mellow about it. The other thing that I'm going to do now is I'm going to start painting in the white around the face, the base white,
Yeah.
like you do. And I'm going to just paint my face, the base white face. The base white face. Kind of giving, I'm going to trim this even because I want this gray to be very slight. And it'll matter. Painting the white on the white will matter. I'm going to come right here. I'll come back with the small brush to add the subtleties of shadow around the nose.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be really tight around the eyes here. And you're like, is this girl painting white on white? What is happening? Yes, trust me on this. You want to do this. And then up here, I will go ahead and take this up into the hairline. Right here. Right here. When I have that in, I'll rinse that out. And I'm going to go ahead and grab some of my white paint. I'll come inside my eye. Just make sure that this has got some white in it. Right, got that all the way there. Anywhere I boo-boo, it's okay. I can go back and fix. And I'm going to get a little of my gray. And it's got to be kind of a light gray. I've got to be chill about it.
Mm-hmm.
Come and add just a little bit of on the nose. Oh, I got a little crazy there. To fix that in a second. And I'm going to maybe just lightly on the inside corner here. But it needs to be a very light gray. Right? The gray needs to be super light, and if it's not going to work out super well. I'm going to even come out here and give her little smile marks that she's got. I'm going to rinse that out. And I'm going to go back with my white and my black to repair anywhere. One of the things you're going to find on these small detail brushes, you have to wash them out vigorously and pull them off on your towel. Because they will hold paint, man. Detail brushes hold paint. Just making sure that that's there. You know, make sure that this is nice and blended. Here we go. On the, you just want the subtleties. These are subtle, subtle touches. You get crazy with them, they're going to get away from you. You don't need them to get away from you. Back to my black. I'm just going to fix my boo-boo at my nose. See how I'm just touching? Easy to remove. Easy to put back. Hard to take away. So I'm going to just come here. And now I'm going to work the eyes, right? So her liner is thicker at the outer edges. So I'm going to make sure that that's thicker. That's reflected in what I'm painting. You know? Because she was like, she had some liner.
Dude, she knew how to put eyeliner on.
Dude, she put some eyeliner on, man.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
Coughs are sneaking up on you. You're at that last stage of...
Yeah, they do. They're sneaking.
Be free of
My
me.
coughs are sneaky. So my first trick with my eyes is to just get my blue paint and a smidge of white paint. And I may even put out some fluid white for reflections and fluidity. Because I got to go with the flow, man. I dipped in the water, I'm getting around, I'm rolling the brush, and I'm loading at the tip. I'm going to come here and as gently and as careful as I can, I'm going to paint the outer edge of this chick's incredible blues with my brush. Right? Rinse that out, wipe that off. I'm going to take a small amount of that blue that I first had. I'm going to make the lightest blue. Cornflower, it's so light. And I'm going to come inside the eye with that. Just inside the eye with that. Expect that you may have to come back with your liner to balance this all out. That would not be unusual. And come back with my black. And I like to put this up to the liner. See how we're right on that? Little brush, little work, going slowly. Easy to add, hard to take away, so go slowly. And then when I've got it on, I'm going to take a long stroke. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's an important, weird little touch. These long strokes to finish that eye.
It really adds something to the stroke of the paint that you can see, especially when you're looking at the actual painting up front.
Right.
You know, and it's there's just something that the video cameras will just never be able to capture.
So I'm going to turn her on the side. I'm going to come back and give her a V neckline. Painting out all this work I did here, but I don't mind. Look at that. And that helps you have just, now you can see how letting yourself lengthen the stroke gave you that smoothness that you need. Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Touching up anywhere in the canvas that I need to. Now I can go ahead and come here to the to the bangs, and I've got my number 4. You could use a 4 round, just something that gives you a nice point. And I'm pulling, she had these sort of chopped bangs, so I'm pulling the little chopped bangs down. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere that it's not smooth and solid, I'm just touching up. Right? Like as it dried, if it popped canvas, I'm seeing white dots. I've got that.
Yeah.
Now, to do the hive, the first part is I'm going to take a little blue and a little black. More blue than black. Right? And a smidge of white. And I'm going to come very lightly around here. See? Then I'm going to finish this. I'm going right over what I had. See how we're doing that?
Mm-hmm.
If you take it up too far or you get too aggressive with it, look what I can do. I can go back with black and push it back. I don't have to worry about this. Here with the black, just to do that. There you go. All right. The blue, the black, a little bit of white. Okay. Then here I'm going to stroke down a little bit of hair there. See, the white's catching it, and it's like a little bit of hair is catching a highlight. You can put some here. If I need to, I'll wipe off, load back up, get a little bit of white. Right, we're just highlighting little bits of her hair, because her hair is really jet black.
Mm-hmm. Which makes it very hard to see in the darkness.
Which makes it very hard to see in the dark, but makes it a lot of fun for us to paint. Like if I grab just a white highlight and I just go, oh, there's some light catching her hair here.
Then you're just painting the reflections.
I'm just painting reflections. That's what you're painting, is you're just painting some reflections. And you can put some here. Right? Now, a very important thing, I'm going to take some white and right down the center of this, I'm going to tap a little part. I'm going to load up with white, but I haven't rinsed my brush. And I'm going to go ahead and paint a little reflection. See how I'm painting out what I have here?
Yeah.
But it's helping me, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Breadcrumbs. It's okay when you're new to painting to need a couple. I just want to make sure that my reflections are pointy.
So that it simulates that hair spikiness.
Yeah. Well, and the way this shine actually works. Some are longer, some are shorter. Now rinse out. I like to get some blue and some white, interestingly enough. And then when this is all dry, I'll come back with some white. I'm just creating that blue lighting that can happen in her particular hair. Rinsing this out, putting this to the side, grabbing my small brush. I'm going to use my fluid because that's the easiest for me to get these dots. One dot right here. And a small little companion to the right of it. One dot right here. I'm below the lid line because I wouldn't see the reflection where there's lid, would I?
Right.
Right. Now for her lips, you put on any red you want. I'm going to use a cad red medium. way more than I need.
That's okay. Now everybody can see it. There's an eyeball in your hair.
There's an eyeball in my hair. And I'm taking a little black to darken my paint. Grab a little water to make sure it flows off. And I'm going to very carefully come in and paint in my upper lip. Add even a little more black and paint in my lower lip. The lower lip shouldn't be black, but it should be a slightly darker shade of brick red to the top lip.
Susan was asking, why do they call them heavy body paints? Is it because of the texture or because they have more pigment?
The texture. Because Golden's high flow acrylic has actually even more pigment in it.
Okay, so heavy body refers to literally the body of the paint being a thick paint versus a fluid body paint.
Right. So it'll hold its shape. Oh, she looks so good.
Yeah.
She's looking really sharp. Look
She
at her
really is.
go, man. I love you, Elvira. Everybody just take a minute and go, I wonder if she'll feel it wherever she is. I love you, Elvira.
We just send you big art hugs.
Like she's just sitting there at breakfast going, a disturbance in the force. Okay. Once I have that in, I'm going to get just my pure CAD red. Crazy person that I am. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to just very lightly at the top of the lip come along with that and pull that down. I'll pull that down into the curl of the lip here. See how light this is? This is a great time for you to practice a light hand. Miniature painters right now just found out that this is their jam.
Yeah, this brush is...
They're like, I've been waiting for this my whole life. Now, in her lip, I want to make sure that underneath it stays dark and the outer edge stays dark. So notice how I'm pulling this down.
Uh-huh.
Leaving those shadows intact. I'm going to come under this part right here, but only to the right-hand side, stroking. I'm going to rinse this out just a whole ton.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to get my white. And here we go. On the upper left, just a couple little highlights down at the ball of the lip. And right here at the center, tapping a few reflections in. See?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Her lips are all awesome.
That is.
Okay. And then the last thing, and I might take the fluid paint and just use this off and make sure that in the center of this I have some bright highlights. Just as a choice. Right? See? Center, bright highlights. Bright, bright. Not too much. I'm just tapping it in. Just showing where the light of the studio might have caught her hair more. There we go. Now here is the fun part. The drips.
The drips.
The drips. And I think the drips are super important to this piece. Now, my 2 cents would be, if you're painting a heavy body paint, go ahead and get a craft paint or a fluid paint for the drips. The reason being is the pigment loads are high, so you have this cadmium red hue and fluid.
Mm-hmm.
The pigment loads are high, but the body is soft, so it's super easy to thin, which you want. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get my clean water because I don't want to drip a bunch of not clean water.
Anne says, did you know that Elvira paints?
No!
I did. Now, I don't. I'm sure her friends don't go around calling her Elvira, but
I did not know Cassandra paints. I hope she thinks I did a good job. I'm having a whole little moment here. Give me a second. Because Because I'm having kind of an Anna Green Gables moment where I'm like, I hadn't really thought out my whole cookie plan. And now consequences that I had not considered. Like, she might be, I cannot imagine she's a person who come in like, you suck.
and everybody in the chat just goes, she does?
Oh, no. So I'm going to show you my drip technique. I've got my brush wet, and I know I want a long drip that's going to come along here. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And before it goes too far, I'm going to catch it. See how I caught it?
You stopped that drip. Now, you're just doing this with water?
I just put some water down, and then I caught it, and I catch it by wicking it back up into my brush. This is just a trick I have. So that when I come here thinning this paint, and I've got to get it to come down, and I want it to go to a specific place, it has a trail that it's sort of asked to follow.
Oh, neat.
While it's traveling, and you can either give it more pigment to take it to the bottom.
And if you don't mind, I'm going to zoom in and watch that do that, because that's really cool.
Yeah, just actually do that, because like when it gets to the bottom, I'm going to rinse out. And I've just got to make sure that as it gets to the bottom, it doesn't go further than I am. So I've got my dry brush here ready. Now, if it breaks, we're good. If it decides to break ranks, and there it goes. But I said no.
Now, if you moved it to a flat surface, would that also stop the gravity action?
Yeah, but then you'd have to do that for every drip, and I'd be lazy.
So you're just gonna stop it.
I'm gonna put it where I want it. I just want my drips to go where I tell them to go. I'm not controlling. Anyhow, here's another one. Grab that guy, because I don't want him to go much further than that. This is something people don't know about drips or accidental paintings and stuff like that. When you're really painting all the time, you don't really have that many things that are actually getting away from you. Right? But the learning, how I learned to do this, is from an accident that happened on my canvas, right? So value those moments where things go wrong. Because it teaches you to do things like this, like how to stop a drip that's going someplace you didn't want it to go, right?
You can control the drip.
But I wouldn't have learned that if I didn't have a day where the drip was going some untoward place. I can even come down here and make sure pigment moves all the way to the bottom. So you've really just got to, once I have that, I know where I want it, then I can come in, be like, adding a little more water to that.
Oh,
now it's going. It's supposed to.
It's going to run away.
I'll get it in a second.
Oh no! Look at that one.
There we go. So I like that, and then I can actively paint out the shapes of these now that I have them where I want them to. So I can paint out these shapes. I can even give a little friend right here.
Oh.
Because you can't have a Mistress of the Dark painting
without some blood.
You shouldn't anyways, in my opinion. I mean, you can. I don't want to tell you how to live your life.
Yeah.
And my thing with drips is that it's really about having long ones and short ones.
A diverseness.
A diversity of your drips, like a diversity of cloud, right? Now we'll drip the other side. I think she would be proud of this. Now that I know she paints, I hope she would, because she might actually see it.
It'd be awesome if Miss Cassandra painted with us.
That would be one of those weird out-of-body moments that only YouTube brings you. Where you're like, I don't know what's happening in my life today. So let's give this some pigment to think about. I love how it does look like blood running down the water, though.
Yeah.
It's a super satisfying little activity. Goes right into it.
Where are you on now? I'm going to zoom in on it. You're just going to patiently wait for it to drip, aren't you?
Yeah, until I'm just happy with where it went. I think it's going a good place, so.
You're going to leave it be for a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, give it a. You can also load some pigment down lower in the stream.
Upstream?
Yeah, you can be super cheeky if you need to.
Just don't cross the streams?
Don't cross the streams. It's so accurate. And perfect for this. So accurate.
Now, this is something that you can try on just a regular white canvas plain a bunch before you do it on this, yeah?
Yes. You can practice your drip control. You are not expected to just jump out of the plane.
We're not. What? I didn't know there was a plane. It was an option.
So there we go.
Why are we being thrown out of planes?
I'd say that she's super happy. Don't hit this with your hairdryer, because what will happen when you hit it with your hairdryer is that drip will go left.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can't. Hair.
I'm just saying, before y'all think of it, do it, and then you're like, what? The drip will go left. Sometimes right, sometimes back up. Generally never where you wanted it to. So that's just a little thought. I'm not going to be able to turn this to the side like I'd want to, so I'm going to have to sign it kind of crazy. Again, doing this where I'm thinking about the piece. I'm not telling you guys how to sign or if you should sign or not sign, but I'm just saying whatever you do in your signature, remember that it's part of the piece. So just try to consider that for your own well-being and the well-being of others.
Wow, that turned out really, really awesome. Man.
She looked good.
She does look good.
Doesn't she look good?
Yeah, and you know what's awesome? Is she even looks good in black and white. Oh, in the high contrast vintagey style. Look at that.
Oh, gosh, she looks just like her. Oh, I look really good. I need to go through life in that. This is kind of too much reality. Go back to the other. I'm 20, because one of them was I look like 22.
Well, guys, thank you for coming and joining us. This was pretty awesome. By the way, Cinnamon, this has been one of those ones where we
Thank
just
you
sort of,
for the glasses so I can see and stuff. Oh, I kind of really dig this.
Yeah.
Kind of cute.
I dig it. I think they're pretty cute on
I
you too.
can't see over there now, but boy, I can see stuff right here.
They were curious if you knew what magnification they
This
were.
was 1.25.
1.25.
And, I haven't really... I keep going to an eye doctor but not getting glasses, and not because I'm resistant to glasses. I'm not really sure what's happening.
You have dry eyes.
I have dry eyes, and they keep saying you've got to have these dry eyes fixed. And then, I don't know if you know this, but those little drops that they advertise are $700. And I'm just like, I'll go get some Refresh. But that doesn't seem to be too, I don't know.
Anyway.
If you'd have seen this Sherpa on the day that I was there at the pharmacist, and she said that to me, and we were looking at each other, and I was like, no, really, how much are they? And she's like, 700. And I'm like, ha, 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 ha. No, really. Anyhow. Thank you for the glasses. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Everybody send Cassandra so much love for being such a beacon for women everywhere. And just human beings and dorks and geeks and people who love horror films.
And because it's a good month, make sure you get checked.
Check your Hooters.
That's right.
2 hoots. Get them checked. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And I want to see you at the easel really soon. Bye-bye.